Welcome back to Parking Lot Takes. That's Brandon, I'm Christian, and Daredevil episode 3 might be over, but the conversation's just getting started. We are just fresh off seeing it. We were just live with some audience members, which is really fun.
That is actually really fun. Yeah.
So, if you can, hopefully we'll be reliable enough, like somewhere after, 9 o'clock, we should be on there chatting with people about it. So, really good time.
Live on TikTok.
Yep. Check us out there.
It was fun, yeah.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Got some good thoughts on Daredevil, some other stuff. We were talking some other movies and stuff. It is really fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun for people to get to ask us questions and
rather than just watching the content, like directly,
actually interact with us.
About
it's really fun and get to talk about what we enjoy talking about.
Yeah.
I have one fun idea for you. I want to run it by you real quick.
Okay.
So to lay out this episode real quick, we're gonna do Daredevil and spoiler discussion at the end of our episode here.
Yeah, because we got a couple other topics we want to talk about first, and then we'll kind of dive into the nitty-gritty details of Daredevil episode 3.
Okay, so I just started Reacher.
Oh, okay.
Yep, like season 3.
Yeah.
I'm watching it. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure I'm not the first person to really think about this.
Yeah, I have not seen it.
Okay, well, it's nothing.
But I know
it's nothing to do with
it.
Reacher.
Okay,
I'm sure I'm not the first person to think about this, but I want to sing it into the ether so I can clip it.
Okay. I'm ready.
Alan Richardson. Everyone wants him to be who?
Batman.
And you have what emotions about it?
I do not want him to be Batman.
I agree with you
at all.
I don't want him to be Batman either.
Please no.
No.
I think he's a good actor.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say that, but yeah.
I think he's a good actor, but I don't think he fits the role at all. Everything that I've seen him in...
He is a good actor. I don't think he's like a great actor. Like,
yes,
he hasn't had the role to define that yet.
Yes, and I don't think he just fits the Batman persona.
Yeah.
I just don't think... He's too big. He's too jacked.
Yeah. So here's my pitch.
Oh, you're pitching a Batman right now?
No. Sure.
Okay.
Why not? No, this is my Alan Richardson pitch for you. You don't want him to be Batman. My brother Caden, part of the show, friend of the show, wants him to be Batman, but he's a big Reacher guy.
What's his...
Because he's freaking huge.
I think he's too huge.
He's technically just the same height as David Cornsweet.
But I think he's twice the size.
Yeah, I agree.
He's massive.
Here's my pitch. Instead of everyone casting Alan Richardson as Batman, we should be talking about Alan Richardson returning as freaking Aquaman.
Aquaman?
Because he was Aquaman in Smallville.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Ah, that's right.
He should be the DCU Aquaman.
That's a good thought. I didn't think about that.
He would kill it.
He would kill it. He would body that role.
And he could be that big as Aquaman.
Yes, he could.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good pick.
Yeah.
I would not have thought about that.
That would be so sick if he came back to be Aquaman.
I don't think he fits in Batman, but I think in Aquaman he could do that.
Because that's his like Andrew Garfield Spider-Man role. Like, he was supposed to get like an Aquaman show in his career, and it didn't work out. So like I'm like, dude, how sick would it be if he got to return to that character in the DCU as Aquaman?
Wow,
I think he could do a good job.
Oh, and it would make sense, I think, especially in some of the roles I've seen him where he's a little bit more lighthearted. If they wanted to go that route, he can absolutely do it and do it very well and believable. Oh, that's a good pick. Yeah, and he could be as jacked as he is, and it would look great in the Aquaman suit.
In the season 3, he was like swimming around, like with his shirt off, and I was like,
"This is my Aquaman.
This would be a sick Aquaman."
That's a good thought.
Yeah,
that's a good casting choice there. Jensen Ackles as Batman and Alan Richardson as Aquaman.
Yeah, they introduced that one guy from Yellowstone. He was in It Ends With Us with Blake Lively. He was like the other love interest. He like expressed some interest in wanting...
the Balducci guy or whatever?
I don't know.
The love interest...
No, not the like...
Lively, not the like lawsuit thing or whatever? Like
no,
allegation?
the actual love interest in the... Not her husband, but like the good guy in that movie.
I don't remember who that is. But
look up 1983 real quick.
1983, yeah.
So he has just recently entered into the conversation and expressed some desire to play Batman. And I don't know how he would do as Batman, but he essentially plays a Bruce Wayne character in Yellowstone, and I could see him as a Bruce Wayne for sure.
Interesting. So he's in Yellowstone?
1983.
1983.
1923, sorry.
1923, I was gonna say. Oh, there it is, yeah. Because I was trying to see, who is this? Oh, this guy?
Yeah, hang on. That's an awful photo.
Awful photo for him to be. I don't know if I've seen him in anything else. Brandon... Great
so
name.
He kind of just looks like you.
That's me. That's me if I was auditioning for Wolverine.
So that's kind of his vibe. So he just kind of entered himself into the conversation.
Like, I look that good.
Yeah, there you go.
That's me.
It's the same. I feel like this guy's got a cool Bruce Wayne in him. Personally.
He's got a good look to him.
Yeah.
I think for the role, if I'm going just based off aesthetics, like I said, I haven't seen him in anything else, but that could be interesting.
He carries some presence. In the Yellowstone show.
Is he like? Do you think he could play a serious role, kind of do a voice, be very?
I think he could. I mean, his kind of career is just not picking up, so I have no idea. But if it's not Jensen Ackles, my ultimate is Scott Adkins. Scott Adkins is who I would want to be Batman.
I could see that.
He is a martial artist.
Yeah,
he could do the physicality
and really sell it.
Probably beyond any actor could. I think if we're kind of introducing a Batman that's older and seasoned, then that would be a Scott Adkins.
Do you think we are doing that? I don't think we are. I think we're still...
Yeah, because we're starting Batman Brave and the Bold with Damian, so we'd have to be, unless we're changing the story drastically.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, because if Damian's old enough to be Robin, Batman would have to be old enough to have
at that point, there's been 3 Robins.
Yeah, so he would have to be older.
How
do you feel about that? I don't want to get too deep into the DC. How do you feel about him being older? Because Ben Affleck was older.
Well, he's older, but Zack Snyder was trying to do a Dark Knight Returns situation with that.
Yeah.
And he
very cool. Love that.
Love it. Didn't lean into probably that enough to really claim it.
No, I don't think so because he didn't have a solo movie. Yeah. They didn't really give him.
He wasn't old enough to really be a dark. He was going for we're not an origin story. We're not going to do an origin story for Batman. But I do think he didn't lean into because I'm reading the comic right now, and I think had he wanted to really sell some of these ideas, that Batman should have been a good bit older. But I think we'll be going right. I mean, you got to think so if we're gonna stick comic wise and we're starting with Damian, that means Dick Grayson's been adopted and grown up. That means Jason Todd was adopted, grown up, died, and Tim Drake.
Yeah,
so we've gone through at least 25 years. I mean, I bet it's probably 30 of Batman between all the 3 Robins.
You think he's in his 30s?
No, 30 years of being Batman.
No way.
Yeah.
He'd be 50.
I know, but if I want you to think he adopts Tim Drake, I mean, Tim Drake's got it, or Dick Grayson has to have been Robin for 10 years.
He doesn't have to be.
No, but I'm just saying comic-wise.
They may slim it down.
Yeah, he goes to Nightwing, okay, and then Jason.
Yeah, you're right.
He adopts Jason as a young, not a teenager, younger than a teenager. And then he grows to a pretty much early adulthood and is killed.
Then it's Tim Drake.
But he doesn't pick a new Robin for a while. Mm-hmm. He goes solo for a period of time.
I don't think they'll stick. I think it'd be really cool if they did.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll stick that close to the.
I'm not saying they
may
will.
Omit 1 or 2 of them. If Jason Todd, I hope he's in this universe.
If they omit one, I'll be frustrated.
I don't think I would be if they omitted let's say Tim Drake.
Red Robin.
And they went to, I like Red Robin, but I can see a world where they do omit him and it doesn't affect it too much. I think as a comic book fan, I would love to see Red Robin. I think that's sick. But I think if they're trying to slim it down to keep him younger but still have some years lived in this universe as Batman, I think I would be okay if they cut him out.
No.
I can see that. If they go the Grant Morrison comic storyline with Damian, then he's older, but he's not 50. I think he's in probably like his early 40s.
But I'm just saying, if you do all the Robins, Batman is going to have been that. That's a 25-year
you're right.
time period.
You would have to do that. And we'll see.
Nightwing is 25 easily by the time Damian's around.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Easily.
And Gunn hasn't really talked too much about... I know he said that Robin has existed, right? But he hasn't said, like, multiple.
Yeah, we don't know much. I'm just assuming because Damian's way late.
Way late, yeah.
So...
We'll see. I mean, maybe they do change it up a lot. Maybe Damian's like the second Robin, something like that. I mean, I think that would be disappointing for comic book fans, but I'd be curious to kind of see what they do with it. But... That's an interesting choice, though. I haven't seen this guy that you're talking about, Brandon.
He basically just introduced himself into the conversation, and now he's getting some buzz. But I think Jensen Ackles still like the fan favorite. Alan Richardson gets a lot of love, but I think he should be Aquaman.
That's a good take, man. I love that as Aquaman. Yeah. I love that pick, and I think he would fit perfectly.
Yeah.
Not that I've seen all what we've got with the DCU, but just like as an actor, I think he would fit. Yeah, that's really cool. DC, I love it.
See, I wouldn't mind if they changed the Dark Knight Returns comic and did it with Damian instead of the one girl. I don't know that that would actually affect me at all.
I
as a reason to Batman again.
The Dark Knight Returns comic book, but I think I agree with you.
Yeah,
I think if they replaced her, and gosh, I almost don't want to say this, but if they replaced her, I think I'd be okay with it.
Just because I would like to see a Bruce Wayne at that age. And I think if you're going to start with...
In Dark Knight Returns, though, he's old.
Yeah. But I think it could work. Because Damian Wade's how old?
But here's what you got to remember. We need a Batman that can carry a universe probably for 10, 15, 20 years.
That's true.
So I think if they do go older, they go like Jensen Ackles older, but not Batman or being Scott like Adkins. In his like 50s, because by the time he hits 60, he's not going to want to do this anymore. Maybe he is. Maybe he's Tom Cruise. I don't know.
Have you seen
Tom Cruise as Batman?
Scott Adkins in the Bruce Wayne stuff?
I haven't really.
Hang on.
Let me see if I can look.
I remember he released because he auditioned for Matt Reeves' Batman movie.
Yeah.
And I remember he had a scene come out.
He looks...
Doesn't that look like Bruce Wayne?
That's a Bruce Wayne.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
And
wow, he looks that.
Yeah.
That part.
You can go see his Batman audition.
Dude, if he had a deep voice...
That's his walking around physique.
No way. That's Batman.
I know. Scott Adkins should be Batman, bro.
That's sick. How old is he?
He's older. Like he's...
probably like 40s?
Yeah. Oh, he's probably in his 50s.
And he looks that good? That's crazy.
He was the villain in Expendable 48, so he's almost 50.
Is it... Man, I don't know if it's too old
but like
to carry a franchise.
No, he's not too old. He looks it. I mean, that's like basically like Ben Affleck, but like actually Batman. Not that he's not bad, but like
no
that guy might...
my boy Ben.
That guy might actually be Batman. Scott Adkins might actually be Batman. Like there is... a lot of stuff
that's intense
that was getting sent around because he does like karate.
He does
like
actual martial arts, so he could sell the actual choreography too. That's so cool.
Like
imagine him like, oh my gosh,
in
like a flashback.
Batman animated series, the Phantom one, he is in a gi doing karate, Bruce Wayne, and it just reminded me of that scene.
That's so.
But like that could that could be Batman
chiseled.
So that would be like my pick, but
interesting pick.
He's not like an insane, like he hasn't had an acting like, he's not an acting powerhouse or known as one. Yeah. So I don't know if
it would be more based on the physique and look and feel.
Which is why but like that would be why you would cast Alan Richardson though. Like that would be the same reasoning.
Yeah, and definitely, like, I don't think we need to have a really well-established actor to play the role well.
No.
I mean, what we're doing with Superman, I mean, I know he's been in things, but not, like, in major projects. Yeah. So I'm completely fine with them doing something fresh. I want to see something new. Like, don't get me wrong, I loved Ben Affleck in the Batman suit and the character. I think it worked really well. But seeing a new actor that I don't really know that I can look at as Batman, I think is fantastic.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one. Wow.
Yeah. All right.
Very cool.
I did something this week. I don't know if I'm proud of it.
What did you do this week?
I watched She-Hulk.
Oh.
Yep.
She-Hulk.
I told you I was
You
gonna.
did that.
I watched it. I had not seen it. I had not watched any of it. I heard all the news and it just discouraged me from watching it.
Yeah, because like you're a big Daredevil fan, and they did some things with Daredevil, so yeah, I could see why.
So I never watched it. Everyone just hated on it the whole time, so I was like, why bother?
What did you think?
With the Daredevil stuff coming out, I just got motivated for whatever reason. I
mean, to be fair, it's a pretty quick watch through.
Yeah.
Like the episodes are like 30 minutes long, so.
And I knocked it out. So.
All right, let me know.
She-Hulk, this is what I Christian, think of She-Hulk as of finishing it today. So overhated.
You think so?
Absolutely overhated.
Really?
Absolutely overhated. Everyone, like, I'm telling you, I didn't watch the show because of all the people just dogging on it. And I was like, it must suck. I actually thought it was, like, funny.
You think it's funny?
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's funny, but I think a lot of times it's
not perfect,
it's
and it's not like there's all of it's just straight gold.
Yes,
but I think a lot of it works.
I think
most of it works.
You think towards the beginning it works a little bit better?
Yes,
that's what I would say.
I think the last episode is just way off the rails, kind of goofy, stupid. But
I think the first couple work.
I'm watching it and I'm like, I kind of like it. I don't know.
Wow.
I'd say I liked it.
Overall, you think you liked it?
Yeah.
Net positive?
Net positive.
I just don't think I can
me.
give it net positive.
So what are your negatives? Because, like, here's the thing. I think I came in at this point. I think, one, this show came way too early. Because the MCU was still at a pretty high point.
Yeah.
Now that we're at like a much lower point, introducing some of this stuff is not like that big of a deal to me. Like, I actually thought the Abomination stuff was really, really funny. Right? And I knew that was a big deal, but I actually, when I watched it, thought it was really funny and humorous. I think the fourth wall breaking, Mia Maslany is really, really funny.
Yeah, I think Tatiana Maslany as She-Hulk, I really like that. I think she really plays the character well. I think she's fun. She's likable. I think the Abomination stuff, I don't find it really that funny. And not that I needed him to still be like this serious soldier character, but it's such a shift that it almost is kind of disappointing because like you get him teased in like Shang-Chi and you're kind of like expecting to get some cool Abomination moments. And I feel like you never really get that. Right. It just becomes the butt of a joke.
I think you need to watch this show so dissociated from the rest of the MCU.
Yeah, maybe. I
thought it was funny. I thought the Abomination stuff was very humorous, and honestly, it, in a way, should have played into Brave New World a little bit more.
Yeah. It can't, though, because of how they played the character.
No, it could, because they set up Thaddeus Ross to be a terrible person in that. They don't never go into it, but they free him on this premise that he was basically in jail for something he was ordered to do. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was interesting. He's like, point. This guy came to me. He told me this was a threat. He told me I was doing the right thing. He said, I thought I was going to be Captain America.
Yeah.
And then I got screwed. And now I sit in jail and pay for it. And Thaddeus Ross is out run for president. So
I think that's so interesting.
Me too.
And they didn't go anywhere with it.
No, they do. The rest of the MCU didn't pick up on anything it laid down.
Maybe, but I just don't think that. I think that is interesting. I think you could set up a really cool arc for Abomination, but when he just becomes a joke character through this show, it almost feels like they kind of dropped the ball on doing that.
But like leader should have set, like the Abomination should have been in place of the leader.
I think that's great, but I think because he's such a lighthearted, jokey character in She-Hulk, with these interesting dialogue pieces where like it gives you some character that you think, oh, this is cool. I think because he's such a jokey character that it would have felt very out of place to go from the Incredible Hulk, She-Hulk, and then back to like a serious Brave New World. I don't think it works because of what they did in She-Hulk.
Yeah.
That's a little speculative.
Comics do it, though. So it's just one of those things where...
Yeah, but I mean, I mean, I know this is getting into like the shared universe stuff, but if you want some continuity, you can't just do. I mean, we say with Thor that it doesn't work. So I
agree with Thor, but that's more just because you completely abandoned what I think makes Thor interesting. But I am in that opinion alone, and I recognize that people don't like Asgard. People don't find that stuff interesting. I personally do. But I think a lot of the show works.
I think the Abomination stuff doesn't work very well for me. I think the stuff that they do with the like social media guy who like becomes Hulk at the end, like a Hulk.
Yeah, but then they retcon it because she's like, this is stupid, and I think it's funny. She's
they retcon it. Yeah.
She's like, this is so dumb. Like, this is the laziest writing. So it's almost like just one of those things where they called attention to it, and
that's fine.
I thought it was funny.
That's fine. I was just like, okay, like I just think this is dumb. Like,
right,
I know
that's like they go for that.
Yeah, but it just didn't work though. Like, and not enough. Like when they went back on it, I wasn't like, oh, okay. Yeah. I was still just like, it's still kind of dumb, but you just acknowledged it.
I don't know.
So I didn't find that, and I think there's, I don't know.
All the episodes leading up, what was it? She's like, all the Bruce Banner stuff I found to be really interesting. I didn't find her to be near as annoying as I felt like everyone was saying she was. No. I didn't think she was annoying really at all. The only time I thought she might have been kind of contradicting herself was when she went to the wedding and she was all about being She-Hulk kind of for no reason. Yeah. But she said she wanted to impress people, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think the stuff at the retreat with the Abomination's really funny. I think that's an interesting conversation when she says, I watched this episode today, and that she's like, you know how you have this friend in high school and everyone just loves them and they're better than you in everything. Mm-hmm. That's me. Mm-hmm. I'm Jen, but everybody loves She-Hulk so much more. I just think that's so interesting.
Yeah.
I think
they set up like some cool character things with her.
I think a lot of it works personally. I don't think it's awful like people were acting like.
It's not good. See, I think maybe part of it too is because it's such a comedy, which is fine. I'm down for something with a little bit different flavor, a little bit, like that's cool. I love the concept because, I always praise like, oh, I think Ant-Man's different because they're doing a heist movie. Like I like when they do different things. Werewolf by Night, love that, very different. But I think the comedy doesn't work for me very much. Like, I think there's moments where I laugh, but most of it doesn't. So if I don't find it very funny, then I'm not going to like it. If you say, oh, I kind of like this, I think it is kind of funny, then maybe you come out of it liking a lot more.
I think you should watch it again, personally, because I remember hearing the decisions in the show and in the moment being aggravated. Yeah. And then when I watched it, the stuff didn't bother me like at all.
Did the Daredevil stuff bother you?
It did. It did just because it wasn't the character like at all.
And that bothers me a lot.
Yeah.
I think that brings the show down significantly.
Like, it just wasn't.
He's him enough of a character.
The stuff in the lawyer in the courtroom is cool, but like, it's a little too jokey.
It feels jokey, shoehorned in, just to have Daredevil there. I mean, I know the connection of like lawyers and things like that. The courtroom, is interesting, but it feels like they just threw Daredevil in there because everybody loves the Netflix show.
Yeah.
And then they just absolutely take a dump on his character.
They definitely don't take a dump on it, but they definitely
tell me the walk of shame is not a dump on the Daredevil character.
I'm saying they do it justice, like, and they
yeah. I just don't. So that definitely turned me off towards because that's like the middle of the show, right?
No, that's the end.
Is it towards the end, like last couple episodes? Yeah. I definitely will say, if I can remember, it's been a little while since I've seen it. I think I liked like the first couple episodes. I think I remember talking to people about it and being like, "Oh, like this is fine."
Yeah.
Like I'm not loving it, but like I can dig it. And then I think it just kind of gets worse as it goes on. And then by the time we get to like the last episode, I'm just done with it. I was just like, this is just not. It's just not working. It's too jokey. What they're doing with like the Hulk characters, it's just not. It just doesn't work. Maybe I do need to go back and watch it through. It has been a little while since that show came out.
I don't know. It's just things I thought were so stupid when I would hear about them just didn't bother me at all and watch. And I think part of that is just because like the MCU as a whole just doesn't have as much weight behind it anymore. So it's easier just to to swallow those pills.
That's a good point, because to your point earlier about it coming out too soon, I mean, that was not that long after Endgame.
Yeah.
So everybody was expecting this all to be a continuation, to be really good. So to get a show that's very different and, you know, maybe just likable, but not like this great grounded like thriller.
I think it's good.
I think people will go, whoa, this is a huge shift. I don't like this. So there could be some
See, I'm almost like, I think everyone should just go watch it again, just because, one, it is really quick. And I think whether you could watch probably like the first 3 episodes and gauge how you feel. Personally.
Yeah.
Because I watched the first 3, I was like, kind of like it. I don't know. I'm kind of bummed out I listened to people.
It just carried you through to the end.
I mean, obviously,
I fell off because I think I felt that too, but it just slowly tapers off and then it just drops significantly for me.
There's low points for sure, but there's just like, she's just funny. I don't know. Tatiana Maslany's
she's
really
likable.
Funny.
Yes, she's likable.
I was like, when she was like breaking into the Marvel studio area, I was like, this is so dumb. And then she's like sitting there talking to Kevin. She's like, hey, when are we getting the X-Men? And she like winks at the camera. And I'm like, okay.
It's fun. That's
yeah.
There's like, definitely some of those moments.
That's pretty funny. And like, she's not like, people said she was so annoying. And I disagree. I
think she's the best part of that show.
Yeah. Like,
I think the things around her is what
I don't think she's annoying like at all.
Yeah. I think she looks pretty good as the She-Hulk too. I think there's some moments where the CGI doesn't work, and other moments I think she looks fantastic. I think they do a really good job of that. Did you feel like it looked off at all?
Yeah,
that was a big talking point around people.
I thought the CGI wasn't great.
You don't think so? I think some moments
it looked
good.
Just weird. Like, she looked too perfect a lot with the hair.
Yeah, especially like in the wedding scenes and stuff.
The hair I think was the worst part.
Yeah, getting the hair right is the biggest.
Like,
with like video games.
I'm very curious about Doomsday and like how she'll look there, because that'll get like the full budget.
You think she's in Doomsday?
Yeah, she's in the concept art. That's another thing we haven't talked about.
Oh my gosh, we haven't. You're right, she is in that. The concept art.
Yeah.
Some interesting things in that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. So you actually like She-Hulk?
I'll say I actually like it.
Okay. Maybe I need to go back and watch it.
I actually enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it, and I'll say like the public did a disservice to the show.
Yeah,
because it was not near as bad as I think people led on to say.
Interesting.
So real quick, we did get some concept art for the new
Avengers Doomsday.
Yup, Doomsday. Looks sick.
I know it's just concept art.
Yeah.
Let's just pause. A lot of concept art we've seen in the past does not come to fruition.
Yeah.
But it does give us maybe some interesting things they're trying to do with characters.
Yeah, but did you see that the release of this, the art, like I think it's the way it's released is very similar to the Fantastic Four, and the Fantastic Four concept art was really
spot on,
really accurate.
No, I mean I know the Fantastic Four art, did pretty much come to fruition, but I didn't see that. Yeah, that could be interesting.
Yeah,
we got some Doomsday.
Yeah,
which looks so good.
Yeah,
like on the throne, like in not Lithuania, is it Latveria? Looks really interesting. Some Vision, White Vision, and Star-Lord.
Yep. Could care less about that. Like, whatever. Let's move on.
Like, I don't think that's all that. The one that interests me most is this, though.
Yep. Potential Black Panther recasting.
Yeah. Is it a recasting or is it different universe?
Probably
I think it's a different universe. But I think it looks really good, and I'm very down if they do decide to recast at this point. So I think it could be really cool if they find a way to introduce a new actor, use the multiverse element, and then he becomes our Black Panther. I don't know how you make that work, but I think there is a path for them to do that without having to really step on what they've already done too heavily. Yeah. But a lot of people have been speculating about like who that actor's like modeled after. I've seen a couple. I don't really know who they are, but I think it looks good. Again, it's just concept art, but the suit looks a little more like medieval. He's got kind of like the cape. Like I think it's a little different than what we've seen in the MCU before, but I think it could be really cool.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. We saw some Young Avengers too. I just don't know how I feel about that, to be honest with you. I don't think we
excited for Miss Marvel. The actress is so funny.
She's very electric.
She is awesome. Did you see her list for her top Marvel movies?
I did see something about that. Today they were talking about like Winter Soldier's on there, right?
Yeah, she didn't plug any of her own stuff, which is fantastic.
That's
like
so cool,
she just actually referenced the top
things,
movies.
I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, like we got some Young Avengers stuff. I just don't know how much I really care about this Young Avengers.
Did you watch Agatha All Along?
I watched most of it, but I don't think I finished it.
Oh, okay.
I think I got about 3 or 4 episodes in. Like what made me think of that too is the I can't remember the actor's name, but not Agatha.
Aubrey Plaza?
No, not Aubrey Plaza. The guy.
Teen.
Yeah.
I don't know the actor's name.
Yeah, I don't know the actor's name, but he's in like the concept art for the Young Avengers. So I just don't know how much I care about them. I don't want to like as much, but
well, the Russo brothers have it, so I'm assuming we're gonna care.
Did you see though? Apparently, the Russo brothers just did a movie and people don't like it. Oh, which one is it? They just did. Is it The Gorge?
Yeah.
Have you seen stuff about that?
Yeah,
Russo
the
brothers?
Apple Plus one.
I think, yeah. I saw people saying that they didn't really like their most recent one. I mean, I have all the faith in the world that they can do an Avengers movie, clearly. No, they did The Electric State with Chris Pratt and...
Is that
I
out?
don't think it's come out yet.
Okay.
No. And Millie Bobby Brown. And it's getting some interesting reviews. Which I just think is interesting because the Russo brothers are doing this with the MCU. But I haven't seen it, so I have no idea. Maybe I'll love it. But yeah, some concept art. We'll see. We'll see if it comes to fruition.
Yeah. It's soon. 2026.
2026. That's so
crazy.
Exciting. Yeah. Very cool.
Very cool. All right. That's all I had.
Did we want to talk about... What else did we want to talk about?
That was
I feel like there was one more thing. I can't remember.
I think it's it.
Oh, the Thunderbolts trailer.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk quickly on that.
Yeah.
I don't want to say a lot about Thunderbolts. So cool for them to acknowledge all the A24 people that are working on this film. I think that's so sick.
Yeah.
Did you did you think the trailer was cool?
That was sick.
Dude.
Well, it's like you don't have to sell me. We're already on the Thunderbolts train. Like
this is just icing on top of the cake
like
at
we're
this
already
point.
like you weren't gonna sell us with the trailer. We're already like pretty certain it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
So that on top of it is just so sweet. It's cool to see it get like that type of recognition and marketing. Because
I think it was Florence Pugh that said, or one of the actors or actresses said that it feels like an A24 like indie thriller or something like that. I'm like, that just absolutely. I was already sold, but I'm so excited to hear more
for
them to say something like that. And I will say, we've said the tone looks different. It feels a little different, shot a little differently. So I can definitely see why people would maybe think that, like just from trailers and things. And this just solidifies that. I think it's such a cool trailer. Just a fun little thing for them to do to get some hype around the movie. But
I like it.
I think it's really cool. All right, let's do this.
All right, how do you want to do it? You want to count it down?
Give it a nice score. All right. Oh, let me think.
I don't know. I'm kind of stuck. I guess that's what 0.5s are for.
Yeah, 0.5s get tricky. I'm going to keep mine to a round number.
Okay, I will.
All right. I think I'm ready. You ready?
Yep.
All right, I'll count us down. You ready? 3, 2, 1.
7 out of 10. 7 out of 10.
That's fair. 8 out of 10. We're not that far off.
No. You're giving it like a A-. I'm giving it B+.
Yeah. I love the courtroom stuff. I was locked in.
I liked it too.
And the reason I know I was locked in is, well, I don't want to get into spoilers, but there's a moment, we can talk a little bit more spoilers.
You were very emotionally invested.
Exactly.
I was very emotionally invested.
I was very emotionally invested.
My heart was
racing.
Yeah.
Yes. My heart was racing at a moment.
Yeah.
And that's when I knew, gosh, this is really getting me.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think it's very interesting. There's some nice little twists, some turns, some things that happen that keep it keep it interesting. Like, I think this episode could get boring in a different universe, but I think the writing keeps it so engaging and so interesting that all the way through this episode, I think it's just really good. I don't think there's nothing in it that is outstanding that would put me to a 9 or a 10, but 8 out of 10, I loved it. I thought it was a really solid episode. To your point, you said, well, you were talking about it off camera, and you were like, you think it's going to slow down a little bit? And it did a little bit. I don't want to get like too spoilery, but
yeah. So we haven't seen Muse yet, or like Muse hasn't started playing a part yet.
Yes.
That makes me nervous.
Why would that make you nervous?
Because that makes me feel like he's added in later on. He was added in later on in shooting to bring the tone down more because of just the darkness around his character.
I can see your point, but based on where this episode goes, I see an avenue for him to enter in pretty easily.
I agree that I think we're going to be getting into some new stuff. Like one of the things I was watching, I was like, is the next like 3 episodes going to be this trial?
Yeah.
And that's not the case, which is cool.
And I'm glad.
Yeah, I'm glad it concludes for sure. But there's just a few things I feel like are convenient. I think Fisk's actions in this episode are very convenient. And I understand that he has said that he's against vigilantes.
Yeah.
I don't know why he is resorting to what he resorts, because in this instance, I feel like it's kind of unprovoked.
I don't want to talk too heavily about that, but I do, like, without getting into spoilers.
I think he just kind of moves in a way that doesn't make like they're telling us, not really showing us. Like, I'm not emotionally thinking that, oh, this is gonna affect him this way. It kind of took me by surprise of how much it affected him. Yeah. It bothered him in this instance.
Yeah.
But the stuff with Matt and the cop is great. We were talking about how is that going to work. I guess he's just like, oh, you can fight. You're a blind guy. Which
it works
is
good.
Funny. And some of the jabs in the courtroom are fun.
Yeah.
I cannot believe that judge let Matt do as much as he did.
Yeah, true.
Little bit of lawyer plot armor there.
Yeah.
And letting
the other side too.
Yeah, letting lawyers say things where I'm like, I feel like you would object to that.
Sure.
We're not lawyers, but there's things like it's like, it's just kind of convenient that they're letting this guy like elaborate on this point. One thing bothers me immensely.
Is it a big spoiler?
It's not a big spoiler.
Okay.
Powers. He doesn't use them in this, and they would be invaluable to their case. Listening to jury heart rates, reactions, all that stuff.
He does in other areas.
Right, but not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There's a part in this where he's surprised by something that he should have just been able to hear. Yeah. So there's stuff like that where I'm like, and we don't know that he didn't hear it, but he acts like he doesn't hear it. So I don't, they don't show us that he hears it.
There's a moment where he's surprised, but he does.
Well, you don't think what I'm saying. You're not.
Okay, maybe we're not thinking the same.
Yeah,
moment.
We're not. I'm talking about later on in the episode. There should be things he is hearing, and he should know things before the rest of.
Yes, because that's his whole mantra.
Yeah, and he doesn't.
Doesn't quite yet. They don't lean
into
it.
They don't lean into certain moments. And we can so real quick, 7 out of 10, not a C. It's a B+. Like if you want to give it a grade.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I think it works. It definitely slows down a little bit. From what I feel like is that this was probably a big plot point in the show.
Yeah.
That spanned multiple episodes that they edited down to one.
Yeah.
If I could guess. Because I feel like it would be too convoluted to take on multiple cases kind of like through the show.
I think if this was the Netflix show, this would have been a plot piece through
like a few,
quite a few episodes.
I think it would. We're just I'm just guessing, but I would say like what I saw gave me a lot of hope. Like I'm like, okay, so this isn't going to be like this super drawn out. We've learned from a lot of mistakes. We're not drawing this out. Like we're just getting the highlights, we're getting the bullet points, and we're going. So I'm like personally, I really want to get to Muse. I really want to see John Bernthal, and I really want to see more Kingpin. There's a big Kingpin. Definitely take a step back in this a little bit. But for the most part, it's very solid. It's kind of what I'd expect out of a third episode. Not every episode needs to leave our jaws on the floor. And like you said, it was a very, very emotionally taxing, the whole court stuff. Like you're very invested,
and I love that.
You're like on the edge of your seat for things.
And not in action moments, which I love. I love when a show can do that for me, when it can make me emotionally invested and my heart's still racing and there's no action happening. I love that. I think that's great. So that's probably, I just love that stuff. So it's probably why I'm a little bit higher than you, because that stuff just got to me. I was like, oh, that's so good. 8 out of 10. Great episode.
Spoilers?
Let's talk spoilers. This is your warning. Spoilers from here on out. Okay.
Do you want to hear what I was talking about?
Yes. That's what I was going to ask.
He should have used he should have known that guy was going to lie on the stand walking up and tried to, like, you know what I mean?
He didn't listen to his heart in the beginning of that?
No.
For some reason, I thought I remember he did, but I might
He listened to it the moment when it mattered, like when he was gonna.
Oh, you mean leading up to it?
Yeah,
like seeing his heart racing.
It should have been like, I feel like
he should have been able to catch it and go, oh wait, no.
Yeah, like
don't
as an audience member, it should have been kind of like something's off.
Yeah.
A little bit, because they already do great job tension wise just getting the guy to the courthouse.
Yes. Yeah.
So then to think we're like, as an audience, you're like, he's got there, and then to take the stand and Matt kind of feel like something's wrong.
You would be like, oh God,
right?
We spent this time getting him here.
It's not that I think that like that's how it should have happened and it would have been better. I think that just makes sense. I think that guy would have been off the moment he went in the room, and Matt would have picked up on it.
Yeah.
It's just picked up on a little late. I'm saying it should be used more, and we should see it be used more in how to sway the jury.
Yeah,
to hear how the jury is reacting to hearing the news Matt should be able to be informed on what he needs to hit on, what he should push on, what and where to do what, and what's working, because he would be able to see, feel the reactions.
Yes. The moment that I thought like he would probably be listening is the moment where the attorney defending the cop is talking to the jury. And he's saying, like, do you know what happens when a body's hit by a train?
Yeah.
I thought Matt would have listened in to see if they were reacting to that.
Yeah.
And he doesn't. And that's one of the moments I was like, oh, this is a good moment for him to get a feel for where the jury's at. Because he's saying something shocking. Also, why did Matt not object? I feel like that was one of the points where I thought, he would clearly say, objection, this is not relevant.
Yeah.
Like, you're just talking about how a body's dismembered.
Yeah.
Like, you're clearly playing on the emotions, not stating, like, factual evidence. Like, I was waiting for him to say objection, and then he never did, and he said all of that, and I thought that was a very interesting... That to your point of, like, I think they just kind of let them say these things.
Had he been listening to the jury and been so focused listening...
And their heart started racing.
Yeah.
Or,
he forgot to object, I think would have been sweet.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, because again, this is us putting our thoughts into it, but the girl, I can't remember her name, his partner, basically could have been like Matt, and then he objection, and it's too late, or just doesn't object or something. Yeah, that could have been a good moment, because I was expecting it to cut to Matt,
right, and
then it just lingers on him, and I'm like, okay, well, if he's not going to use his powers, he's going to object, right? Yeah. And he doesn't object either. So that was one moment that I thought was interesting.
Matt should be almost unstoppable in the courtroom just because he should be able to play the jury like a fiddle just because he should know.
Often.
Yeah, he does a lot in the Netflix show.
He leans into the jury a lot.
So that I feel like is missing and just a miss on the powers.
Yeah.
A little bit. One of the things that was just so blatant to me would be like, dude, he would know the freaking jury result like before they ever walked in.
How do you think he would know that?
Because he would be able to hear it.
Oh, them talking?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Because he's listening to...
In season 3, he literally does exactly this. He hears them reading a note off, and he's like, fist got to the jury. So I know he can. Like, I know we've already established he can do that. So that's something that bothered me was, and it doesn't play a huge plot point to the show. It just is like concerning to me. It's like, okay, so we're kind of missing on the power usage.
Yes.
A little bit. Like Matt should be able to hear into that. Like he shouldn't be surprised at that verdict. He should hear the conclusion they come to before they've ever come out.
Yes.
And he should be like confidently like, you know, kind of consoling Hector a little bit in that moment because Matt knows. And this isn't like, look, I get it. It's not changing the episode drastically. No, it's not, but it's just things we've already known about him. Power usage. Yeah. And you don't tell me if you're an attorney and you want to get a man who's innocent free, you're not going to listen in to the jury decision. Like it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So we and you know from season specific moments throughout the previous show that Vincent D'Onofrio has said this is in his head Daredevil season 4.
Season 4.
So
he did say that in an interview.
Bite me, all you people who are like it's not.
It's not.
But
yeah,
he would be able to listen in on it, and so the fact that it's not seen was something that did bother me. Obviously not enough. I don't think it's terrible. But it's just a little bit. We're missing just slightly on powers, just a tad. And I think his powers are very valuable. In that situation, especially with a split juror. Like to think to add in like some moments like it's split. Like Matt's like talking to the private investigator. It's split right now.
Yeah.
I need to know these things about these people and I need to know where I can home in. I got to win X amount of people over and da-da-da-da-da. That stuff's super interesting and all within his power set to be able to do. So that's kind of just a miss on the complexity that they could add to some of that stuff.
And I think it might be because it's condensed to one episode.
It could be in there. I have no idea. Yeah.
Doing all of that, like the complexities of leaning into how do I win the jury and things like that, probably would be more of like a 2-3 episode arc thing.
Yeah.
So if it was originally planned, maybe they cut it out. If it wasn't, I think maybe they just condensed it.
Had the White Tiger reveal been a decision he made because of listening, like
he had it ready,
feeling the journey out. Yeah. Not even like to be like. Because he is a good person and he does good things.
Yeah.
And hear someone react to that.
Yeah.
And be like, I have to lean into this. I don't know. Like I think that works. Like I think that's interesting. But anyway, we're just gonna get lit up online because we're like, yo, thank goodness you guys didn't write it. You don't understand. I get it. It doesn't change the show, but it is just consistent power usage.
Yeah.
He would be able to hear the verdict. He would be able to hear their heartbeats. He would be able to hear how they're reacting. And be able to relay that to their defense.
And that's just because we have 3 seasons of an established show where he does things like that.
Yeah.
And this has been said by Vincent D'Onofrio. This is a season 4, essentially. He said, like, I know it's Born Again. It's a season 1, but it's a continuation. So it's just, if you've known the Daredevil character, you would know these things to be relevant. So, I can see the point. I don't think... It doesn't necessarily take away from the episode.
No, it takes nothing away. Like, it takes nothing away. It's just more just me watching as in, like...
I know the Daredevil character.
I know he could listen into that room.
And they just chose not to use that.
Yeah. Or they oversaw it, which is like, it's an oversight, which is my fear.
Yes, and I hope not. I mean, it could be, though.
I would rather know. It's like, we know we made a choice not to do that for these reasons. Okay, whatever. But if it's just an oversight, then I don't feel like we're in good hands.
Yeah.
Like, I think...
That's completely fair.
I think it's something that people are going to grab onto and just absolutely lose their minds over.
Yeah, it definitely could be.
The other thing, unless you wanted to speak real quick, but I was going to move on to Wilson Fisk.
I do want to talk about that. You mean kind of talking about him taking a backseat, motivations with vigilantism, things like that?
Like, I understand he doesn't like vigilantes, but he was so appalled by that decision. Like, I don't know why.
You don't think it warranted the action at the end?
No.
I don't think it warranted the action at the end either, but I know what they're doing.
No,
so I'm okay with it.
I get it. It's just one of those things where it's like, you have to show me he hates vigilantes, and I have to kind of feel it. All you've done is say it.
Here's what I will say, though. To their point, I think they're probably just leaning into the fact of his history with vigilantes as all the motivation he needs to absolutely hate them.
Yeah, but it is his
camp. I mean, his campaign is stood on basically. I mean, what's one of his biggest points is that I'm against vigilantes. They shouldn't be here. We're outlawing them, and he got elected for it. So it is what he's standing on. And I think to kind of like his defense, he says the line of, I promised them that I would, and I think I need to follow through.
Yeah, but I'm just going to say that outlawing vigilantes
is very different than...
But then just absolutely just...
Murking
one, but also just spreading false information that he's a murderer and he was falsely, like, the law doesn't work. I think are two different things.
Yeah, so that was interesting. When he was saying that, I was like...
I think that's like motivation wise is not. That's what I mean when I say it just doesn't really make sense. Why does he immediately jump to that? Like, that's just a self-serving opinion that he's choosing to believe.
Yes,
but
that's
like
Wilson Fisk, though.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. Why would he not be self-serving? He's the kingpin.
No,
that's why I think he brought in the girl to record it so that he can twist the narrative.
Yeah,
for his agenda,
twisting the narrative, but There's not enough controversy around
vigilantes.
Around him.
Around Fisk.
No, around Hector. It wasn't split. At least they didn't show us that people were like, he belongs in jail. They showed us a few street interviews, and they're like, I guess if the evidence is there, he should go to jail, but I want him to get a fair trial.
Yeah.
The only people that were actively against him were the police officers.
Yeah.
Like, we kind of missed on Wilson Fisk taking a statement. Like, all of these things about the case that he never does. And so when it feels like he's like, I lost and I'm mad, I mean, I don't know how that's a good move for him politically. Because we weren't shown that people felt like that was a wrongful decision, like that he was, that was, they let him go.
Yeah.
That wasn't shown. So that's why I think it's just kind of like, now, I think taking the interview thing out and just murking him is better.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
He just takes drastic action and it's almost shocking.
Just takes him out.
Yeah, just like
if the city won't get rid of vigilantes, I will. Like, I think that's. I think that works.
I think it works. But to be fair, he kind of did do that, but he just also has the interview in there too.
Yeah, but
I think the interview is just meant to show him playing the mayor character and twisting it to his agenda. I think that's what their writing was trying to do. They could have done it, you said.
Yeah, I agree. I think in this instance it's just weak. Like, it's not like the most complete circle of like, oh, and he's going to do this because this. We're all kind of shocked that he does what he does.
True. I was very
And I think
shocked.
it's a little bit more than just like, we're like, oh my gosh, he killed him. Like, I think it's a little bit like, gosh, he is like, this is a decision. Like, this guy, what's the worst thing that, like, we should just get more. He should be at the trial once the White Tiger stuff comes out and be speaking on it.
Because it's a high profile case, essentially.
Like the fact that he's not there, like, obviously we need to be seeing him listening to the testimonies being read and that being angering him.
Yeah, because I mean, I think it's a good point because like the first couple episodes established like, I need to support, my police officers and against vigilantism. So if he comes out and says like, I support the officer, like, and he kind of does in a way with the interview. He says like, a veteran officer lies dead, but I think if he was active in the public and then this goes the wrong way, he has more motivation.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and man, I almost wonder if it was cut out. I almost wonder if this arc is longer.
Like, I think him, after he is found by a jury of his peers not guilty on 3 charges of 3 counts of murder, I don't think it's that strong or cool of a plot point that Wilson Fisk would then get on the radio and be a troll. Yeah. I think it's a little weak.
I mean, I don't know if I would go as far as to say it's weak. I just don't think we have all the context maybe we could have to make it a point that really hits hard and really makes sense.
I think there's
very enough there.
Here, let me put it like this. I think it's a very stupid way to make sure the reporter is relevant.
I don't think it's to make the reporter relevant. I think it's to...
You don't think so?
No, because
I feel like it's a little weird. I don't like the reporting stuff.
You don't? I think it's interesting.
I'm deciding that I don't really like it. I think if it's gone, it changes the show. It adds to the show 0.
No, I think that's tricky. I think if you take it out of the show, it doesn't really hurt the show. But I think adding it into the show gives you kind of the grounded feel of this is a very local, this is a very within your neighborhood kind of show. And I do like that it gives that tone and vibe. So I like it. I don't think it's great or bad. I'm kind of probably in the middle and just say I like that it adds some isolation. It's in your neighborhood. Daredevil's in your neighborhood. This is a very grounded kind of local thing. That's what I think.
I might be alone and being bothered by like him just totally going up there and be like, yeah, this guy's a murderer, because we never see him talk about Hector or White Tiger. So for him to be that angry and that appalled by the decision is, to me, out of nowhere.
I think there's enough by him running his campaign against vigilantes to warrant what he does, but I don't think they have showed enough for it to really feel fleshed out, if that makes sense. Yeah. So that's why I would say I don't think it's weak. I think that we've got enough really feels fleshed out and hits home.
Not weak in a sense that I don't think it makes sense as motivations to kill him, but I don't know what the purpose serves to you basically complain about him being found not guilty. Yeah. Because he gets not guilty because of his record and service to the public. Yeah. So then you're just saying, basically you're just doubling down. No, he's a bad guy. Yeah. I don't know. That's why that's what I'm saying is weak. Like, I think the motivation to like get on with a reporter and make a statement, I think is not the most. It doesn't really make sense to me. Like, I think it'd be more interesting if there was a line like, if he had followed the trial more closely and then said, if the city won't get rid of him, I will, and then that'd be the end.
Yeah, I can see that definitely.
But big thing at the end, it's definitely not the Punisher.
You don't think so?
No. We would have seen his face. Hands down.
I mean, I don't know. It could be.
I think it's a copycat.
So I thought that too. So I think you might be right. But I think it could be. So here's where I think it's interesting. I've heard some buzz online where people are talking about how do we work in John Bernthal's Punisher into this? Well, he's been against vigilantes before. Like, maybe him and Fisk are not on the same page, but they kind of align. And I thought, that would be interesting if Fisk kind of manipulates or uses Punisher kind of in his own agenda. I think that's cool. So I kind of thought maybe this is Punisher and maybe they are kind of doing that. You know what I mean? But I don't think Punisher would just straight up go and shoot him for Fisk.
Yeah.
So that's why
Hector's
I think it's probably a copycat.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm like, I don't think it's Punisher, but I do think we might get Punisher next episode. I think they're going to work him in. I think that is, everybody's going to go, it's Punisher. They're going to be like, psych, you're right, it's copycat, but Punisher still shows up and kind of does something really cool. But how did you feel about him just getting marked?
I like it, but it's like
I'm disappointed.
Really?
Just that, like, I don't know. I was just kind of, I guess from just like a nerd aspect. I kind of just wanted to see like White Tiger do some more cool stuff, and he didn't do anything. And I kind of just thought it would be neat to see. I think the choice is interesting, like cool, but I kind of wish we got more White Tiger. He was kind of underserved as a superhero. Again, that's just like kind of probably like a comic book nerdy thing.
He's just
for the show. It works.
The amulet's going to his niece, and she's White Tigress. Like,
that's what I think too. Which is cool.
I see what you're saying, but I like it in the context for Fisk.
It's just like we get him in the suit finally. He's putting the mask on, and I'm like, here we go. We're gonna see him like use the amulet and do something cool, and then he walks down an alley and gets shot.
But also,
that's just like a little disappointing.
Also, Fisk is like doing this whole thing about being clean. He needs to, it needs to look like it's legit, all this stuff. How in the world is it a good play to publicly like
execute?
Well, call out someone on the media and then they're killed. Just
yeah,
capped.
Is that not going to be like weirdly?
Like,
someone's going to put
like,
two and two together.
It just doesn't feel elegant like it does in the other shows.
It feels messy.
It just feels messy,
and it shouldn't. It should feel very clean, especially because he's mayor.
Right.
That's a good point. I don't know how they're going to reconcile him just getting shot like in the middle of the night, like on the street. I mean, I'm sure they'll chalk it up to some copycat vigilante is just out there, whatever, but he'll twist it. But it does feel a little messy. Yeah. That is a good point. It's an interesting choice. It definitely is shocking. I didn't expect that to happen, I will say. I just went, even from the interview, I was not expecting him to get shot. I thought maybe we would get White Tiger for a little bit longer, but yeah, interesting choice. I think it can work. We'll see how it plays into the Punisher.
Yeah.
Overall, though, I do think it's a good episode.
Yeah.
Slows down, definitely. You're exactly right. It slows down, but in a good way.
Yeah.
And I really liked it.
I mean, I think it'll pick back up.
Oh, it will.
I think we'll probably got 2 more weeks of maybe some slower stuff, and then we're probably picking back up.
If Punisher shows up in the next episode or 2, I think we'll get some pickup around that. And then maybe it slows down again.
See, Punisher being confirmed to be in something else other than this show kind of makes me wonder
if he's just a small part.
Yeah.
Not like you get like a tease here, but he doesn't play a big role.
I mean, I think we know. I mean, we did see set photos of both of them.
Yeah, he's in the show.
No, I know he's in the show, but in his vest, and then Matt suited up. So I don't know the entirety of it, but it's got me curious, like how much of a role he'll play.
I mean, it could only be like a 1-episode thing towards the end of the season, but I mean, I feel like if they're both suited up, then he's gonna have a pretty big part at some point. Yeah. We'll see though. I'm excited to see him and Muse show up eventually. I think I don't know how that's gonna play, but
yeah. I also think. Do you think it's totally just fine to kind of gloss over the Matt just absolutely kicking the cop's butt?
What do you mean?
How he's just like, so you can fight, huh? I'm like, you can do a little bit more than fight.
Like, oh, yeah.
Like, he absolutely destroyed you guys.
Yeah, and remember, he's blind.
It wasn't like he threw a stray punch. Like,
yeah, that is kind of interesting.
Like, it feels like that's resolved real easy. Like, I think it's funny. Charlie's funny and is good in it, but it is kind of like, is that...
It's almost like they're missing context.
Yeah.
It's almost like
it's almost like it's a lot. It's like 3-episode arc condensed to one thing.
Because like it almost feels like there's a conversation somewhere to what we were talking about this like earlier. Like, how do they reconcile that? It's like, well, what are they going to say? A blind lawyer beat me up. Like, it's almost like there's a conversation where Matt says that. Like, you know what I mean? Where he's like, oh, can't wait to like tell the boys, and he's like, what are you going to tell them?
Yeah.
You know, and
or even if they tried to, I think it'd be even interesting if they tried to like create this false statement, and he's like,
Matt's like, I'm clinically blind.
Yeah,
like it's almost like that's in there somewhere, but that it's cut out.
Yeah,
and all we get left is just kind of the fun line. Like,
yeah,
so it does feel like they gloss over it a little bit. I don't know. I'd be curious to see if like a writer or director ever says like, we had to condense some things, and they maybe never do that because it would go kind of against the marketing part of it.
I mean, we're assuming that they tried to keep 6 episodes and then they filmed 3 additional ones. Like, we're assuming that that's the case. It's totally possible they like took those 3 and condensed them down to 1 or 2 and then redid everything else. Like, we just don't know.
Could be, yeah. No clue.
So,
Yeah.
It does to me think, I'm like, I feel like, yeah, Hector was going to be like this huge...
Yeah, I thought so too.
Well, like...
It's resolved
like their
very
trial
quickly.
would be a big plot point.
Yeah. I just thought White Tiger would carry through the show longer. Like, I just thought he was going to be a part of the show for a lot of this. And to be resolved in episode 3 to me is just kind of surprising.
I mean, I felt when he was donning the costume, I was like, oh, something's happening, because he was told not to do this again.
Yeah.
Which is another thing. True. Like, they said you can never do this again if you're acquitted.
It makes sense for his character, though. Because he's clearly said, this is
why?
Me. I'm going to do it anyway.
Can you tell me why he has to give it up if he's acquitted?
Has to give up the suit?
Stop being White Tiger.
Well, because his public identity is that he's White Tiger. Like, everybody knows he's White Tiger now.
So how does that change whether he's out there or not?
I think it's probably
Matt tells him he can't be White Tiger anymore. Why?
I guess just the danger to his family. But
it's already there.
It's already there. He almost should have been like, you have to leave the city now. Like, yeah. But they didn't ever really talk about that.
That would have been more interesting. Like get your family and go. And he's like, no.
All the people you've, like...
And then he dies.
Yeah.
But, like, to me, that's just, like, why couldn't he continue to be White Tiger? And that's and that was one of those things when he was putting the suit on. I'm like, oh, he was told, how can he put the suit on? And no. I'm like, well, why can Matt even, like, why did Matt said it like it was going to be illegal. Yeah. Maybe I misinterpreted that, but it felt like he was saying it like it was a legal issue, not this.
I think he was saying it more as like a danger issue, and there's a different path. You don't have to put it back on. Now that everybody knows, you don't have to put it back on. Because he was talking about, like, you'd be surprised, I think, that you don't miss it as much as you think. Mm. He's clearly talking about himself.
Oh, yeah.
So I think he was maybe leaning more towards, like, one, everybody knows your identity. There's danger involved. But also, like, go a different path. You don't have to put the suit on to do good. That's what I thought of it. But doesn't matter now because the man's dead. Yeah. So, interesting choice. But,
I mean, also, if you are able to leave a blood stain yay wide on a fridge, I think Homeboy can do it a little bit more than fight blind.
That's a good point, yeah. Solid episode, though.
Episode 3 is
really,
sweet.
Yeah, it was a good episode. I really enjoyed the courtroom stuff. I'd love a little bit more of that kind of stuff. That's just what makes this show special. Is the action stuff is great, but also the drama of it is really good. So I'm glad the writers gave us a little bit of that, and they did it well. That makes me happy. I'm liking it so far.
I like it.
I think this is solid so far. I mean, I'm very curious to see where it goes, but this is a solid return to character.
Absolutely.
I love it. Very cool. Anything else?
No, I'm good.
I think that's all I got.
Sweet.
That's a wrap, baby.